Hello, welcome back to the Shepherd's Rest Talk, episode 10B. The New Testament portion for this week. And let's get right to it. And as always, we'll just take portions from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and put them all together and create a story. We'll start in Luke 24:1.
So what's your topic today?
My topic is the resurrection.
Wow.
And it's a good one. The Lord has showed me, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this. The Lord has shown me so many cool things this week. I don't know which ones I'm going to talk about. He hasn't really told me yet which ones I can. But we'll see. We touched on a lot of it in Cam's portion, but we'll see how this goes. Let's start.
Oh, but hers is so much deeper.
All right, let's start in 24:1. But on day 1 of the week, at early dawn, they came to the tomb, bringing the spices which they had prepared. These are the women who were coming to the tomb. And they found the stone rolled away from the tomb. Okay, first we're going to talk about day 1. This was, at Matthew 28:1 really touches on that. He says, but late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week. So we kind of have a misconception that the resurrection happened at the sunrise on Sunday morning.
That's the sun god.
Right. But in reality, he rose at the end of the Sabbath, which was Saturday evening. So,
so it was probably, it was dark, definitely.
Yes, it was definitely dark. But by the time they got there, when it was still dark, he was gone. The tomb had been rolled away. And there were Roman guards put into place all around the tomb because they were already afraid that the disciples would steal the body and take him away.
And why? Why do they think that was going to happen?
Because he said he was going to rise in 3 days.
So they thought...
It's amazing to me that they heard him say it and said, what? You're going to rise in 3 days? But the disciples still didn't understand that he was going to rise. They had such a preconceived idea of how this was going to go down. I can only imagine how...
Our preconceived idea, no wonder we'll be like, what? What?
It's going to things are going to take us by surprise. Yeah. That's why it's so important to guard the word. That way, when things do start to unfold, you know where you're at on the timeline, not necessarily predicting the future.
And going by the Lord's calendar, you come to understand, well, yes, sunset is the new day. Day one starts at the sunset.
Yes, he died at Yes, that's a good point. But he died Passover. He was in the ground, unleavened bread, and he rose on first fruits. And we're going to talk about that. It's not he rose on Sunday at sunrise, but he rose on first fruits. And that's another very interesting point. But I just want to touch on Saturday evening is something, it's a tradition, but, you know, some traditions are very good. It's called Havdalah. You bring the Sabbath in with a prayer, and you take the Sabbath out with a prayer. And the reason they do that
is bookends.
Yes, because the Lord said, keep the Sabbath holy. And this was a tradition that the Jews had that would keep the Sabbath holy because they're keeping it in their mind when it starts, and they're keeping it in their mind when it ends. And it's saying, you know, this is a holy time.
You're setting it apart.
That's right. You're setting it apart from the rest of the week. That's right. And
how easy is that to do?
It is. It's very easy.
Just get out yourself. Acknowledge when the time is.
Come to the real time.
Yeah, come to the Lord. Okay, you're in the process of already now being able to keep Shabbat.
That's right. That's right. It's very good. All right, so let's talk about the Feast of First Fruits.
Okay, let's.
First Fruits always happens the Sunday after the weekly Sabbath. So we have Passover, then we have Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is 7 days long, and then we have First Fruits. And First Fruits, like I said, always falls the Sunday after the weekly Sabbath.
It moves.
It moves. And there's a reason why we hold to this theory, because from First Fruits, you count 50 days to Pentecost. Well, if it always fell on the same day, then why would the Lord tell us to count?
In Leviticus 23 and in Exodus, I think it's 13 or 12, where it goes through the feasts that you're going to, the appointed times, everything is precise. It's exact on the exact date.
Pentecost. You have to count.
And it doesn't give a date for first fruits because you have to count. if you didn't,
because it always falls the day after the
why
Sabbath.
do I have to count if I know what day it's on? I'll just wait till we get there.
Right. Exactly.
But you never know what it is.
Exactly.
It floats. Therefore, that's why we stand with the must count.
Right. And the important thing of all this is that he rose on first fruits.
Yes.
However you want to say it. It
Exactly.
wasn't Easter Sunday. It was the festival that the Lord set up from the beginning. It was first fruits.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
So we'll set up the scene. Mary Magdalene may have been staying somewhere else. She wasn't with the other woman, the other women. She went to the tomb first. She got there. There were no guards. The stone was rolled away. She started weeping. They've taken my master somewhere. She runs to where Peter and the rest of the disciples are, and she tells them, knocking on the door, they've taken the master. They've taken the master. He's not there. I mean, they were all his followers. They heard him say over and over and over, after 3 days I will rise. But they still, I don't know, a middle block or what, but they just still didn't get it. So Peter and John take off. While she's doing this, 4 other women come to the tomb. Mary, the mother of James the Less, Salome, the mother of James and John, Joanna, the wife of Chuza, which is Herod's steward, and 1 other woman. Now, these are women who were just as devout followers as his own disciples were.
Oh, absolutely.
They followed him everywhere. Mary Magdalene had 7 devils cast out of her, and she was so gracious that she gave up everything to follow him. She followed him everywhere he went. And so did these other women, and they did a lot to support his ministry.
Yeah, several
monetarily.
of them with financial backing because they had wealthy husbands.
So to think that Yeshua did not include women was, I mean...
Or Paul, they say that about Paul. Paul's constantly naming these women who are teaching.
That's right. That's right. And there were women teaching.
Absolutely.
And these women their stories are accounted for in the Gospels. So their stories did matter, and they did hold them in high respects. So, okay, so while that happened, the other women showed up, the 4 other women showed up, and they go in, they're crying, they're weeping, they think that someone stole the body. And
Isn't that funny that they even went by the lie of society?
Yes.
That the body was stolen. Instead of knowing that he said he was going to rise again, they still chose, the first thought was someone stole it. That's why Rome had the guards.
All right, well, let's talk about Matthew's account. Matthew said that an angel in dazzling white came down, created an earthquake. Mm-hmm. That earthquake caused all the guards to faint.
Right.
He rolled the stone away. Yeshua came out. The guards went back to Caiaphas. Caiaphas said, okay, here's what we're going to do.
Right.
Plan B. He knew.
Oh, yeah.
That the resurrection took place.
Right.
And he still covered it up as a lie. Mm-hmm. I think of a lot of churches today. They know the importance of the message of Torah, and they still cover it up because the denomination does not support theory.
You know the other thought is, if I say that's correct and everything I've taught here is wrong.
That's right.
And we cannot be able to say
pride. That is pride right there.
Instead of being able to go, no, I was wrong. Not every piece of it was wrong. Don't throw the baby out of the bathroom. There's a lot of wonderful things that are absolutely correct.
That's right.
But when you decide to say
precept upon precept, line upon line.
But when you decide to say no to this precept,
they stop.
Because of
the precepts stop.
Yeah.
And you'll notice you won't learn anything else. And you'll be like, I don't know why. I just can't learn anything.
And then you know what happens? You just go back out to following what the other gods say they do.
All right, so that's what Caiaphas did. He told the soldiers, here's what you're going to do. You're going to start a rumor that that the disciples came in the middle of the night and stole the body. Right. Which made me laugh because I thought, so a Roman soldier is going to say these puny disciples came and stole the body on our watch?
Right.
But they did because they knew
they be my soldiers.
Well, they had just witnessed an angel come down and roll that stone away.
Yeah, earthquake. They all got knocked down. Hello. Just like when they went to go arrest them, they were all knocked down, yet they still got up and arrested them.
Right. And I'm telling you, I was so drawn after reading the earthquake part to Revelation 6 with the great earthquake at the end.
Yeah.
This earthquake happened. There was a resurrection.
Another
Revelation
reason to
6,
go,
that maybe that
that's
is more
the
at the end
I
because
just really,
another earthquake happens, a great worldwide earthquake, and right after that you see all the people.
And even in
white
17,
robes.
it talks about all the shaking and the greatness in the city, and that's when Babylon's already fallen, and there's none other like it. Well, there's none other like in 6, so there can't be none like it, unless it's the same thing.
Oh yeah,
We'll
go there another time.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so Matthew and Mark mention one angel that the women see, and this angel says, "Do not be alarmed. He has risen. He is not here. Go tell his disciples he is going ahead of you back to Galilee." But Luke mentions 2 angels as well.
But what do we know? There always have to be
2 witnesses.
2 witnesses.
So we know, from Torah that
Right.
there were two angels. And the second angel said, "Yeshua is alive, not among the dead." He said, "Why do you seek the dead among the living?" I mean, the living among the dead, because it was a tomb. And he is risen, he is not here. Remember his predictions. He predicted his death and resurrection. Okay, so then these women leave. Okay. So then you have Peter and John. I think it's funny.
Racing.
John's account is so funny.
I know, it is.
Because
It is.
Everyone else's account says Peter got to the tomb and da-da-da-da-da happened.
Mm-hmm.
But John's account said the beloved disciple, talking about himself, ran past Peter and got to the tomb first. He looked in. He looked in, but out of respect for Peter, who was his elder, he waited for Peter before he went in. But he did go in and see the linen cloths. The linen cloths folded up. Actually, they're not folded up. The linen cloths covering the body was as if there was a rapture. It was gone, and they were just...
Which,
there was a
if
shell.
you think about it, that makes
Like
sense because the glorified body, with the molecules the way it works, scientifically, there's less, there is less harmonic movement, therefore you can converge with solid matters. That's why Yeshua can walk.
That's way beyond.
That's why Yeshua can walk
through
walls in a glorified form. It's like that liquid. Terminator, the liquid guy, just go, anyway.
Yes.
The idea is, it's the way the molecules move, it's quite different. Well, here he just moved through it. He didn't.
But
his
face,
get it out.
his face garment was folded up and put in its place.
Yes.
Now, we're going to talk about that for a second. When Peter got there, he went in and they saw the 2 garments. They make it very clear that the 2 garments were separated, the body and the face.
Right.
And I think of the Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin could not possibly be the Messiah because it's one long body like you see here. So we know that from Scripture, if we would just go to the Scripture,
absolutely.
Now we have people worshiping this shroud because they think it could be the Messiah. I mean, guys, we're so far off base.
I love how the Lord already has these things in to fight the
why tell us
lies.
that it was in 2 pieces? I'm sure there's a much more deeper meaning, but on a surface level, it's completely
defeats the lie. I mean, it completely shows it's a lie.
That's right.
It's someone's shroud, absolutely, but you can't make it Messiah's because, now, according to the History Channel, they have DNA they've taken from it, and then they run the DNA, and they know what the face looks like.
Well, and they've come to the conclusion that it's a medieval time, but the people who very adamantly want it to be Yeshua they just won't hear of it. They're like, no, the tests are inconclusive. Well, that's like everything in science.
Right.
If it doesn't agree with their theory, then they say, well, the test was inconclusive. But we know from Scripture that that's not it, and that's the point.
Right.
All right.